Have you ever gotten feedback on a script that was along the lines of, I was just confused about who was doing what, or I had trouble tracking the characters and keeping them straight? Now, the problem often stems from how you introduce your characters. And this is one of many things I work with my students on, and they go on to place and win in contests and get their writing in front of Hollywood decision makers. So I'm going to show you 3 examples from some scripts of my subscribers of these character bombs, as I call them, and I'll give you some insight on how to fix them. So if you want me to read your first scene, or if you want to work with me and learn how to write those Hollywood quality scripts, there are links below. Our first example is a scene from Death Benefit by Jack M. And here we've got Frank closing down a bar, who's a patron closing down a bar, along with a bartender and another guy named Colin, who seems to be masquerading as somebody else, going by the name of Sam. All right, glasses on. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, so here's our scene from Jack. And notice we're at the dive bar, closing time. We do introduce a bartender. Character introductions should always be all caps first time you introduce them, so make sure you are doing that. As we go through the scene, there's part of it where, okay, he's looking at a picture. We get this here. Frank, who's the guy closing down the bar, holds a photo of him and his wife. I'm going to come back to the character introductions here in a second. He holds a photo of him and his wife as he sips bourbon. This feels very cliche, just holding a photo. I mean, it's probably modern day, so it's probably going to be on his phone in some way. So maybe consider doing that. I mean, the photo, I guess, is fine, but it just feels a little out of place in some weird way. But then Colin comes up and is like, nice picture. Yeah, it was. Now it's a lie. Okay. These are fine, but it's too much. Like, literally, this line could be wife, and this one could be was. Like, that's it. Like, you don't need anything else. So just try not to go sprawling too much here. But we've got Frank and Colin going on, same length names, whatever. They seem kind of about the same age. I mean, 50s, 60s. Sometimes it's hard to tell difference between people. Sometimes people who are in their 60s don't look like they're in their 60s. So this guy probably does. He's overweight, all of that. But they kind of are blending together a little bit. And we got bartender talking. Like, it's fine. It's not a bad scene per se. Part of the issue is I don't really know whose scene it is. I feel like it's probably Frank's. But I'm not exactly sure. So that's an issue here as we go through. It's kind of like, okay, who's driving this scene? I'm pretty sure it's Frank. It should probably be Frank. It feels a little bit more like his scene. But part of my problem is it's hard to keep track of them a little bit. Not a lot, but a little. And part of the reason for that is there's nothing really distinctive about them. I mean, they're just, you got one guy who's overweight, another guy comes in who's cocky in a gray jumpsuit. I'm guessing like a blue-collar worker kind of a person. Got Sam here on his name tag. But as I look at these introductions, you look at them on the page, and this is what I mean when I start talking about that it's a character bomb. Okay, that as a result of the character bomb, it's just too much information all at once, and there's not enough to separate who is who. So the reader never really gets to latch onto one character or the other. We also don't really know how to feel about them. I mean, we got Frank, who's sitting here. Okay, he's a hardworking man, beard a little overgrown, holding a photo, sitting at a bar, sipping a bourbon. Okay, it's kind of like, all right, is this good or bad? Should I feel happy that Frank's at least here and not in some hole somewhere? Should I be sad about his life? I don't know how to feel about him at all, one way or the other. And I'm guessing he's probably the protagonist, so I should probably be feeling something about him. And this is your thing. When you introduce characters, you got to give an impression so the reader knows how to feel about them. But then I get another one, Colin James, arrogant and cocky. Okay, so this, I probably shouldn't like him, maybe. That's about it. I mean, that's all I get is like, maybe I shouldn't like him, and so I guess maybe I should like Frank. And it's just got to be a lot more clear. So the simple fix for this character bomb here that I'm giving you is simply to isolate the character first and then add the other characters. So if this is Frank's scene, then let's start with Frank. Like, we're on Frank. We don't even have to be at a bar. We're on a glass of bourbon that's getting sipped by a guy named Frank. And he's sitting at this bar and he's overweight. Hasn't shaved in days. Looks like life has just run him over with a truck. And we're just like, dude, there's probably not enough bourbon in the world to solve your wounds, right? Like, there's just not enough. Like, give us an impression so you know how to feel about him. And then, maybe Colin shows up, or maybe the bartender, so maybe Colin shows up, and all we get is wife, and, Frank turns to see a guy, gray jumpsuit, name tag says Sam. I don't know if it's important that we know his name is Colin at this point. If Colin's going to be somebody that comes up later that kind of masquerades and does other things, then maybe somebody else. But again, maybe this is Colin's story. See, and that's what I mean. I don't know. Like, if this is Colin's story and he's like doing things for people, or he's, I don't know, the title Death Benefit. Maybe he's like a Grim Reaper of sorts or something. I don't know. But, he's coming in and doing stuff. It's kind of like, well, I don't know how to feel about this guy. So you have to separate them. So isolate whoever's scene it is, or, in this case, I still think it's Frank's scene, even if it's Colin's story. So we can still make it Frank's scene, isolate Frank, let us meet him, then introduce Colin, okay, and then we're back to Frank, finishes the glass, holds to the bartender, this is the last call, Frank, yeah. Okay, so now we introduce the bartender, who's just kind of a no-name person, is a day player. And doing that is going to at least clarify whose scene it is, how we should feel about them, and we'll probably add in some more conflict. Because right now, as we're looking at the scene, there's not a lot of conflict. There's a little, but it's not a lot. I mean, it's just, I don't really know how you would identify what the conflict is. Maybe it's Frank wanting an extra drink, or Frank wanting to be left alone, or there's just not a lot there. So we learn about characters by how they overcome conflict. So in that sense, what you might want to consider is we're on Frank. He's finishes his drink, interacts with the bartender. That's the last one, Frank. Come on, man. I'm just one more. Like, it'll be the last call. Let's see Frank kind of deal with the conflict there, and how does he deal with it? He's trying to sweet talk his way out. He's trying to bribe him, like, hey, here's an extra 20. Come on. Like, how's he try to solve the problem? That helps us know about Frank a lot. And then introduce Colin in the mix. And then move through the scene. So that's one way that will help you with that. But overall, pretty well written. A decent scene, just needs some more conflict, and you can't character bomb like this. So separate them out, let us meet them, isolate, then add would be the solution in this case. Our second example is the first scene from Little Dark by Grant B. And in this scene, we've got a woman named Cairo who heads to the bathroom to cut up some pills, and a fast food manager unhappy with her behavior. Okay, in this scene by Grant, we've got a couple of things going on. So first, we've got our character bomb right up here at the top. So we're going to deal with that here in a minute. But again, one of the issues is like, okay, whose scene is this? We're a fast food joint. I don't know whose scene it is. I don't know what's going on. This section here, we're in the bathroom, the toilets. It's definitely Cairo's scene. So that part I can mostly track with. But I do personally, I bumped as I was reading this, Grant, I bumped on the fact that it's a plastic knife trying to chop up a pill. Man, I've had pills and had like sharp metal knives, and it's hard to cut, and then sometimes they explode, and you got pieces of pill everywhere. So I'm having a little trouble picturing this here with just a plastic stolen knife. So just kind of keep that in mind. Other readers may bump on that too. Part of the issue here in this fast food restaurant, I get it's fast food restaurant, but I don't know what kind. Are we talking McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, or non-burger joint? Like Taco Bell or whatever. Like, I don't know where we're at. I need a better idea of what's happening. I'm really just not sure where we're at. So I kind of have no context for what's happening. And I don't know here, when I get to Cairo and she's in there trying to cut the pill 1 by 1, 2 by 2. Okay, I don't understand that. I don't necessarily need to. All these things. She's going down. She gulps down a piece of the pill that she's cut off, and the remainder gets put back in the bottle. I don't know if this is a victory for her or if this is a moment of, I'm being interrupted, I gotta hurry up, I'm just gonna take what I can get. So that's what I don't know, and we need to get a sense of that, just a little bit a sense of that, so we know if she's successful in getting what she wants or not. Remember, every scene, each character really needs to want something. The manager clearly wants Cairo out. Okay, that one's clear, but I don't really know what Cairo wants. So that I need a little more help understanding that one. And then here, Cairo kind of lashes out at the manager, but he doesn't really react initially, and he kind of needs to react initially. So let him react, and then she shoves past. Now, I will say this with this scene, which almost always when I do first scenes and look at first scenes, regularly I comment on there's not really enough conflict. Okay, this one is good. You actually have conflict in your scene in both little sections here on page 1. That's excellent. That's good. I kind of get a sense of Cairo a little bit about who she is as a character. So that's really good. So please keep the conflict. So good job. Everybody else take note. Okay, let's deal with our character bomb up here at the beginning because we get no context, which I mentioned. This little section here, I don't know whose scene this is. So from what point of view are we watching the scene? Is it Cairo's as Cairo comes in? Or is it the manager as he's back there working and sees her move? Because I got the manager clocking Cairo. I have a feeling it's supposed to be Cairo's scene. But this could easily be the manager's scene. Fast food restaurant, hustle and bustle, people post-pub. We're coming in here, the post-pub crowd coming in, but the manager clocks someone who doesn't belong. Cairo, walking through, maneuvering away, picks up a plastic knife, heads to the bathroom. Yeah, he's not having that kind of riffraff in his restaurant. And he goes off. And then, cut to the bathroom, we see Cairo. We meet Cairo, da-da-da-da. So we could split up this to here, because he might just see somebody or whatever. Or you do it from Cairo's perspective. Cairo comes in, grabs things, and clocks that the manager's watching her, and she quickly ducks toward the bathroom. Okay, that's fine. And then bang, 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 right? And the manager, get out, I know what you're doing. So that would be one thing. So really what you need to do in this case is to focus on one character or the other, and then have the other one react to the first one. So it's sort of like you've got a character and that character is inviting the other character into the story by how they're reacting to their presence in their sphere. So give us one and then let them react to the other character. And that will kind of help you spread this out a little bit. But otherwise, really good. Also excellent, again, on including the conflict. So nicely done. Before I tell you about the third example, if you want me to read your scene or if you want to work with me, don't forget about the links below. So for our third example, we have a TV pilot, Simon Says, by Michael M., where three Special Forces type characters, Mickey, Jack, and Danny, are about to breach a cartel warehouse. Here we are in Michael's scene, and as you can see right here, we've got our character bomb right there, so we'll address that here in a minute. I do want to point out that we've got three people, Mickey, Jack, and Danny. Now we're going to guess Danny's a girl because of how name is spelled, and we're told she's a Hispanic woman. Here's the thing with women's names is it's okay to let them have a name that sounds feminine. Like, it's fine. You know, there's so many times where a woman's name is Sam or, you know, Sam or Sam, right? But it's another case like Danny. Okay, so it's fine to have, you know, a more feminine name. It's fine to keep it. I'm not saying that. This is for everybody listening. Like, that tends to happen a lot because they want the characters to feel more masculine and do more. Like, it's fine to give them a feminine name. It's totally fine. Okay, so we've got our character bomb with the names, but then we get into some exposition here about their mission, which honestly, they probably would have had all that discussion ahead of time. And so this is one of those, as you and I both know, because they've worked together before, they know this about each other. It's all for the sake of the audience, which is never a good idea with exposition. So this section right here just needs to be reworked a little bit. I don't know, there's some artifact here. I don't know what's going on there. You can see that. So I don't know if there's spacing or what issues going on. Just kind of look into that. And then the last bit is we get the solution. So there's like a guard, and they're going to use Danny to kind of flirt their way through, which honestly is kind of a cliche thing. So I don't know if you really want to go that way because it makes it feel a little cartoony. So I'm not sure if that's really the tone you're going for. I mean, we're talking about this is an episode really of like trafficked children, it seems like. So, you know, it's probably not the tone you're going for. So just kind of keep that in mind. Like, you try to find a better way, a better solution. And one way to do that and to think about it is, let's go back up to their introductions here. If I look at them, hear how they're introduced, I get name, age, what they're wearing, what they're doing. Name, age, what wearing, what doing. Name, age, what wearing, what she's doing. So, not almost, she's really almost just standing there. So one way to solve this particular character bomb is actually to do something where you're going to kind of talk about them in a group and then peel them off from the group so you can kind of talk about each one individually. And when you do it, we're going to see them do something that's a superpower for them that distinguishes them from the other people in the group. So if they're all three the same and have all the same skill set, that's boring. And if this is a TV show, I can guarantee you that's not going to work. They need different skill sets that they're bringing to the table. So in this case, we need each of them doing a separate thing. So if you come in and it's like there's a group of three people all with weapons moving in, the group of three pull up, one of them pulls off. This is Mickey. Mickey goes around and puts his gun away, pulls out a knife, takes care of a guard quietly, slips the knife back in, pulls out the gun, rejoins the group. They move along, they go down a corridor, and there's an issue, right? I mean, you sort of, I'm just riffing here. I mean, you do have Mickey that's got IED, so some kind of bomb, so maybe he's the bomb guy, and then you've got the knife guy and the girl gun person, the gun girl. Okay, like maybe it's that, but give them a superpower to distinguish them so we can keep track of them. It's like, oh, okay, this is how Mickey solves problems by blowing them up, Jack solves problems by knifing them, Danny solves problems by shooting them. Okay, like how would they normally solve a problem? And then now we confront the guard and now we have to go through that. Okay, but now we've introduced each of them, so give us the group, the number, then peel them off, let us introduce them one at a time, pull them back together, and now they go through this obstacle they got to go through to then get into the warehouse. So hopefully that is helpful to you. I will also add with this one, Michael, that it feels like there's conflict, but there's not really a lot of conflict here. So by doing this, peeling them off, having them each deal with something very quick, very simple. So even by the end of page 1, we're still here dealing with the guard who's at the end of the hall, but we've gotten to know our characters a little bit, and we've also seen them deal with some conflict and how do they deal with their conflict in their own individual way. Okay, that is really, really helpful. So it will give us more conflict and separate the characters. So kind of a win-win. Now, character introductions are not the only things that need to be awesome in your screenplay. And in this video, I walk through some secret weapons you can use to make your scenes totally awesome. And don't forget about the links below.